good morning, good evening, good day. I don't know which part of the planet Earth you are right now, but may I talk about AI? Yeah, this episode of Startup Rant is like a scary episode of a Terminator. No, it's not. But we're gonna talk about AIs. We have a person here, Heidi, who's she's gonna talk about AIs. AIs in the Roomba devices, AIs in cars, or where we can find all those AIs and what those AIs are gonna do in the world of the future. You can even say that the future is now or that the future is far-fetched, because even now the AIs are not what we imagine that they are. For example, maybe you're thinking you're not using an AI, but you already maybe have an iPhone or Android device with the awesome software inside that actually is using something similar to AI, or maybe a face recognition, maybe some kind of a part of the neural network uh, software that's running in behind. Or you're thinking more in the vein of the, let's say, drones, crafts, airplanes, and stuff like that, or even like those scary movies that we see all the time that AI is taking over the world. Don't be afraid. I was adamant about this to get an answer, and Heidi did provide that answer. The Roomba, the cleaning robot, will not take over your home anytime soon. But, can we really trust the AI? Well, will that happen? What will happen? Or would you trust an AI to run your bank account? Actually, your bank. All kind of a thingy is a kind of a focal point of this episode. And we talk about AI and AI in Croatia and all these kind of stuff that's happening right now. Association of AI, the people who are standing behind the AI or in front of the AI, talking about the benefits and what can be done with it. So, welcome to the Startup Rant. Another cool episode. Watch Heidi, watch this episode. Leave comments, follow, share, and don't be afraid of AI. Oh, we are recording in progress. For some reason, my laptop, after the update, started to talk to me. Whenever I hit something, he says something. Actually, they choose the female voice for this. Probably some artificial intelligence in the background. And we now have Heidi here from interesting field of artificial intelligence. Hi, Heidi.
Hey, hi.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Miroslav.
How are you?
I'm great. And you?
I'm just like enjoying my life right now because I'm still not overcome with the sky full of robots taking my life like from Terminator movies or whatnot. But
Lucky you.
AI, lucky me. You want to say you're working on something? Tell me more about AI. What's artificial intelligence here?
What's AI? Oh, so many things. But in short, um, machines and computers doing tasks and things instead of humans.
Nice. Wow.
Short and sweet, Why complicate things?
Okay, so they can like clean my house.
Well, some can, Uh,
Okay.
I think Roomba now does have AI in it. So, that
Really?
vacuum cleaner that goes around. Yeah,
Okay.
it has image recognition, I dare say, and some of the other sensors. So it's getting smarter by the day,
Cool, cool. Okay,
but not
so
as smart, unfortunately.
what?
Just not as smart as Maybe we should because I have a friend who has had to throw away his Roomba because they had puppies, and puppies did the poo-poo where they shouldn't have, and Roomba did not recognize the poo-poo, but it went over it and smeared it all over the house.
Okay, so we can look at it that Roomba just maybe wanted to show its way around the house, and I'm just going here, and you can follow me,
Sure, sure.
follow the smell of
That
the AI.
I kind of doubt that was the intention of that AI, but that was the effect. So I dare say that those robots in the sky that you are afraid of, we're still quite far away from
Okay.
those.
Because when you said like they have a puppy or something, I was like afraid this gonna be like that, and I'm gonna offend anybody right now. This is a joke, that joke with the Chinese guy, a Chinese neighbor, and a dog, And I was thinking, about that joke, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Not that kind of joke. This was not a joke. This
Okay.
actually happened.
Okay, but it didn't walk the dog, right? No,
No,
okay, just smeared the.
just weird.
Okay,
The little brown thing.
smudge. Okay, so your friend came home and she had smudges around the house, and she just threw away. Poor AI, poor Romba that was trying to clean her house.
Yeah, that Roomba was beyond salvaging. Because that little brown thing got in
It's like
all the
sand; it gets in
crevices.
the way. It's
It
similar.
just smells a bit more than sand, so you know, tiny little
But
difference.
it's a like natural schmeck there right now, maybe like, okay, so they have to clean their home after that, I guess. So can we try to teach ourselves to communicate with AI, to work with it, to mold it to our way, to recognize the puppy and the poop, not just the pee inside that, just like differentiate that, and of course the dust on the floor.
Yeah, well, that is the idea. Is that machine, that vacuum cleaner, so in this case, can really recognize what's on its way and clean it accordingly, or go around it if it recognizes that it's something that it shouldn't
Okay.
be touched. So yeah, there are a lot of technology is advancing with an incredible speed. So the Roombas that I don't know came out a year ago, and those that came out today are like sky and earth, as we say in Croatian. I don't think that's the actual expression in English, but there's a huge difference between the technology in it, what it's capable of doing today that it wasn't capable of doing a year ago, and let alone 5 years ago. So yeah, maybe tomorrow or in a year we will have a vacuum cleaner that can recognize dog poo. Hopefully,
or any poop, you know
or,
just
or
poop.
any poo, or
Okay.
yeah,
Do you
because it's
think
not
that
necessarily
we
just
need
dog.
to put some kind of a smell sensors into Roombas, like?
Well, that's an idea. I'm wondering if they thought of that. Maybe you should let them know.
Yeah, I have these kind of ideas worth $1 million here and there. Okay, I'm just gonna write that down. Of
There you
course,
go.
then we could have a problem with missing socks more than we have now, because right now how they say the washing machine just ate one. Now will be the Roomba ate the other, and I'm without socks, which is another problem. But so
Well, as they say, new level, new devil. So something new, some new problem will come up, but then we'll handle it when it does.
okay, and I'm pretty sure that you have something up your sleeve with something called elements of AI. And here I don't think that elements actually is earth, wind, and fire, and something in between. But you
Water.
have Yeah, well, that's the point of life, the water and
Just stating the
heater.
obvious. It's okay.
I just skip that. Uh, so, are you skipping something in elements of AI? Like, don't teach
No,
the Roomba to pick up the human if he spells bad.
luckily, elements of AI are not there to teach the machines. It's there to teach the humans about what AI is. And elements, yeah, not the Earths, all those elements, but the basics basically of AI. So it's a good course for everyone to go through because you don't need to have a tech background, to understand what the technology is. And since this technology already is here, it's not something that's coming. It's here. We're using it every day without even maybe being aware of it. I think it's always good to know what's going on and be present and be aware of what are the new things that are coming or that are here that I'm using that are affecting my life, not just professionally, but also privately. So, and the thing is with AI, unfortunately, it has such a negative connotation because everyone's seen the movies and the shows and, science fiction. And I dare say 95% or even more, the plots are so negative and so terrifying, and they all end up in AI destroying us, which who knows might happen someday in distant future if we're not careful. But right now we're still far, far, far away from that happening. But AI is a technology that is really influencing everything, and it's transforming the way we are living, the way we're using things. That's where we even talking right now because there is AI right going on right now because there's a filter that you're having that
Well,
I'm having as well. So
you have a filter.
I have a filter. Yeah,
What kind of a filter?
it's just that smooth filter, to make me look
Smooth
more
filter.
younger than I am.
Okay, I will need that. I will need that filter as well because I just put this with a fake background, but I need that to feel young or to look like young. I feel young. I want to
I
look
feel
like.
young too.
Yeah, okay, so tell me, Croatians. We are old people. We are here from. We know the songs here, and we are here from I don't know, pretty long time. How are we faring in with these elements of AI? Are we like, yeah, I want to learn something new, or we're like, there are only five people and the crickets in the room?
Amazingly enough, Croatians are eager to learn about AI. So the program was developed in Finland when Finland was having the presidency of the EU because it rotates every 6 months. And they really wanted to finish their presidency with a bang and give something to the entire EU that they will be remembered by. So they kind of devised this course. It's basically basics of AI course that you can go through that they allowed everyone to take for free, and they gave it to all the other EU member nations to translate into their own local languages because in the tech world most of us do speak English, but this is a course that is targeted to the entire population. Not everyone speaks a foreign language. So yeah, it was translated into Croatian by courtesy of the University of Zagreb and the Faculty of Organization and Informatics from Varaždin. I hope I called them correctly in English. And the Croatian AI Association did the promotion of the course to really spread the word that it exists, that it's free, that anyone can take it, anyone can enroll. And I think right now over 20,000 people have enrolled into the course, which is more than any other EU nation except for Finland, of course, because that's where it started. But we're al pari with them. So it's kind of crazy, but we've had an amazing response from the general public. people really decided to, enroll in the course and to learn what that thing is about. So I'm proud, I have to say.
But okay, but when I look at it, when I read about it, it was like, Croatian people sometimes like we underestimate ourselves in this day and age, but actually from the beginning of time and space, we were actually doing all kind of crazy stuff from Nikola Tesla, from Penkala, from I don't know, even Bošković, or we really have people Kravata. We have like people who are really making footprint in the world, and even now with Rimac and the car, that's like the pinnacle of electricity in the vehicle. I'm really glad that we have so many people interested in this, because maybe next startup that's going to rock the world, or rock the space, will come from here in the AI. Do you see that?
I surely hope so. I mean,
Okay.
because as you say, we do have amazing people. They're very talented, that they're very creative, they're really smart, and that are doing, what sometimes feels as something impossible, and yet they're making it happen. So right now, what we really need to do is make this little country of ours like a better environment for people to really start startups and to stay here, because a lot of those that you mentioned, they maybe originated from here, but in order to create a company, they had to go somewhere else where it was much easier to operate, and to scale the business and to really become a globally successful company. So Rimac is a bit of oddity, because he really decided that he wants to stay and he wants to keep the headquarters of the company in Croatia. So that is impressive, especially when you think about the industry here that he's working in.
Oh
It's not
yeah.
like we have a lot of car industry here,
Yes.
so it's crazy, but really commendable. And now we're really having this wave of success stories, okay, that happened overnight after 10 years or 15 years, but no, overnight.
Well,
uh,
he was working overnight. It's like my startup. My success one day will be the success overnight, because I will say it was mainly overnight.
fair enough, you have a point there, okay. But yeah, really, we're just like listening about the successes of companies that have even gotten the huge investments, that have had crazy exits, that they're hiring people, that are bringing back people, experts from all over the world that are coming now to Croatia to work from here. And so we just need a little bit a better environment for startups, those tiny little things such as, I don't know, tax reliefs for investors or employee stock options that could work, tiny elements that we can improve and really make it easier for next unicorn to come out of Croatia. Because I mean, after Infobip and Rimac, even though like they're so close to really
Yeah.
becoming a unicorn, but in the EU they are recognized as a unicorn already. So
Well, you
we
know,
need third, fourth, 10th. Why not? We can. It obviously can be done.
yeah, we have
That's
like the
good.
Five, we have like Crow Team, we have Nanobit, all kind of companies right now. And what's beautiful is that even those guys that are like CEOs of those companies that are in that kind of a space and place, they're right now even forming VCs. That they're gonna invest in here, not just like that we need. How many VCs we have in Croatia? Like one, two, three, maybe four available.
Two and a half, let's say.
Yeah,
Two operating and one
yeah,
about to.
and even here, like my startup, the first investment came from Slovenia. It's not like there there is like much support here, but it's changing. It's actually changing a lot in these days. And with these unicorns, or with these kind of companies that can actually put back to the society, back to society, something that they are like doing, what they are producing, and not just like money, but actually the stuff, the technology and knowledge, and what's more important, networking, because we cannot be anywhere in the world if we cannot talk with the people. I can be the smartest guy in the room. If I'm alone in the room, well, hello room. I can be the smartest guy in the guy, but guy in a town. But if I'm just sitting on the bench and not talking with anybody, I'm just the smartest guy on that bench there. And there is a guy creating smart benches.
Which is
What a connection here. And he comes to
by
me.
accident you thought of that.
Yeah, everything is by accident.
Yeah, of course. No, but it is true what you're saying. We are kind of hoping that we will have what Estonia went through a few years back. So they had so-called Skype momentum, when they had their first unicorn, that was Skype, that really like multiplied the benefits, the economic benefits for Estonia, but not just money, as you said, but really like knowledge by people that remained there, by all those people who were early employees of Skype who suddenly, had cash on their hands, so to say, to invest in other things, to start their own businesses. I mean, Estonia has produced 7 unicorns, for crying out loud. They have 1.3 million people. So they're the country with the highest number of unicorns per capita in the world.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
It can be done.
Yeah, we as a country who was so much in the world news in 2020, when it was pandemic year, it still is pandemic going on around. Okay, there is a vaccine, people are getting vaccinated, all that, but actually in the startup world, we were and we are still one of the countries that are producing so much in the PR, in the media, in the marketing, that something is going on here. And we should take this kind of startup nation title or whatnot. And we now are talking about COVID, and we are talking about COVID passports, whatnot. But Estonia, after the Skype and everything, they created something called e-residency. And we have digital nomads right now, which is huge success for Croatia right now. But we need something like this. We need to bring people here to work.
That is true. I mean, Croatia is a beautiful place to live in. I mean, let's be, real about that. And a lot of people who have had the chance to live somewhere else, they say, I had the opportunity to live in London, to live in New York, to live in Washington for like a certain period of time. And we have so many advantages that we take for granted, mostly because a lot of people have not lived anywhere else. They don't know how good we have it. So as I said, we just need to make it a bit easier to work from here as well, and to create businesses here, and we can be, like living in heaven. And the thing is, people are slowly starting to come back, and really renowned experts that were working for companies like Facebook or Google. So for example, Marko Velic, who came from Facebook London, he came back to work for Photomat. I mean, come on, he's one hell of a smart guy that, had God knows what salary I can only imagine in London, but he decided to come back here with a family, because it's lovely to live here. And of course, okay, there is a little bit of patriotism in all of us, I guess. We want to be proud of where we come from, and we want to, be able to boast a bit about that. Okay, I'm coming from Croatia, but not just say Croatia, that is a country of sea and beautiful beaches and the islands, but Croatia, that is one smart country that has incredible talent, incredible people, and creates incredible businesses.
Exactly. And when you say like Photomat, that's another company using AI inside. Another something here. My company is using video recognition software. We have image recognition softwares here. We have robotic AI who are using something as a robot, as a software. We have companies that are in this space, which is beautiful. And you said something that we need to change a little bit about financing, about this. And banking is a big issue as well, because right now we have companies like Revolut, we have N92 in Britain, we have kind of these digital non-existent, not brick and mortar companies that banks that are in the air, in the cloud, My money is in the club. uh,
It's
whatever.
out there somewhere.
It's somewhere out there, When it rains, it's raining money. Now that is actually literally
We
right.
wish.
But it is exactly when you say it like that. But you are in the banking, guys. See, I hear there's something company called Airt, something doing in banking with
Well,
AI.
it started from banking. It's kind of
Okay,
expanding.
it's expanding. Of course, it's
It's
expanding. It's
expanding
AI.
indeed.
It's expanding all over the place. I'm afraid it's going to take my Roomba
Absolutely.
and take my poop and me because I didn't shower this morning at the right time in the right place and space. And oh my god.
Interesting. An AI that is making you shower.
Well, it's 8 o'clock. He should have been showering right now. He's not. I'm gonna swoop him up and just throw him in the garbage with the rest of the crap.
Yeah, not yet. Maybe someday in the future. Not yet.
Whenever you say
Now you can
maybe
have.
someday in the future, I'm really afraid now. I'm really afraid now
No,
because
come
I'm gonna be
on.
senile. I have Alzheimer, and I will forget something, and I will be in the dumpster.
No, you won't. Come on.
Of course, I will not, because there will be some pills. I hope not just for the something, but for the
Everything will
mind.
change. Come on. Our lives will change this way or another. That
Okay,
they say
okay,
the only constant in the world is the change. So
okay.
it is.
It
I mean,
is.
come on.
Everything is changing
Everything is changing. I mean,
until
just remember how we were 5 years or 10 years ago or 15 years ago. We're leading completely different lives, and especially the generation that kind of grew up in the world without the internet, and now
people
we
still
are
don't
using
believe me.
the internet.
People still don't believe me. I'm older than Facebook, so
There you go. See, there is a time where Facebook did not exist. So everything changes, and
in the
who knows what
old
will happen
age.
in 20 days, in 20 years, in 30 years, we will see. And probably a lot of things, the scenarios will happen that we cannot even think of right now. And then in that time, it will be completely normal, and we'll be surprised how we didn't think that this would be a thing. But yeah, so when it comes to my little startup, Airt, we started working with a bank because we realized that I mean, AI is here. Everyone's talking about it. It's a sexy topic, and everyone's doing something in the field. But a lot of companies, especially in some industries such as financial industry or telecom, they do have a lot of data. But when they're
Really
using data,
now?
yeah, but when they're using it to like do any predictive modeling, they're using only a tiny fraction of it. Because of course, it's not easy. You cannot just take all that data and stuff it into a model. It doesn't really work that way.
Okay,
So,
GDPR and stuff, right?
so not even that.
I know,
Sheer,
it's
I mean,
just sheer
that
amount of data,
comes
right?
sheer amount of data. Yeah, GDPR comes at a later stage. I mean, it's there. We are in the EU. You cannot escape it. So you have to be GDPR compliant right from the start. But yeah, with the sheer amount of data, there's so much value in that data. That's it's not being used. Well, until now, because we are helping those companies to really extract the value out of the data, to really understand who their end customers are. Because if you know your end customer better, then you can help him or her with whatever you're offering, but offer them what they need when they need it. No, and not just bombard them with generic offers of the products or solutions at random times of the year, when someone decides this is the time for this campaign, so let's now spread the word towards everyone. No, let's go and try to have a bit more personalized approach and really offer to a specific person what that person needs. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're helping them.
Okay, so I open
extract that value.
a account in the bank and I get Roomba to go home with.
Well, after this show, you might.
because the bank just ran through my data and they see like you are spending so much on the cleaning products, we want to make an offer for you, and it's gonna be a Roomba. It's fine, just when it goes red, be out of the house. It's everything is fine. Okay, just take the Roomba. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Is that a bit scary right now? People might be scared, like, if we have an AI, which is like analytical software device, robot thingy, checking my accounts, checking what I have, and trying to suggest, or actually suggesting what I can have or have not in the bank, and what kind of I don't know, uh, deals in the bank. Do I need another credit? Am I for this or that? Will that is it a scary in this kind of interfering with the human touch, when somebody can say, listen, data says you're not eligible for this because analytical computer said that, but I do know that you have a second job that you're putting in this account, which is actually protected by the law because that account is because of the child support or whatnot, but the analytical computer can only see this. Or do we have this kind of a problem that we will be like just looked at methodically, eyes cold, dead in the eye, this is the data, and that's it?
Well, I mean, there is always a potential problem with that because, of course, AI is as qualitative as the data it learns on is. So, if you have bad data, then the output will be bad. But I mean, if you look at it, humans are biased as well, and with humans, maybe everything is fine with the data, but you won't get something because someone doesn't like you. So
Okay,
it's
I
always
get that point.
it's never black and white, It's always
Okay, but I need to be a little bit like ice cold analytical here right now and say
okay.
that I'm going to use your words against you right now. And
Ooh,
I'm going to say that who is providing data to the computer?
it's the humans,
Exactly.
and it's the humans that are creating the algorithms. It's the
Cool.
humans that are involved. It's still not doing it on its own. It's
So
not the
is it?
computer that is deciding, what
Yeah.
data it'll take
Okay.
and how it will crunch it. It's the humans that are feeding the data.
So is it scary that maybe a person who is providing the data is a little bit biased to one or another point of view?
But the, but isn't it scary right now that the person who's making decision
Oh,
is
don't worry.
biased?
When I go to
I don't
bank, I'm
know.
scared enough.
No, but the thing is, uh, especially with banks are hyper regulated. So, I mean, if there is industry that has to be very, very, very careful about how they're treating the data, if they're making sure that the input data is not biased this way or another, that it's really like clean and as neutral as possible, then I dare say it's the banking industry. Yeah. So, but of course, even they can make mistakes. One of the most famous blunders, I dare say, is with the Apple Card that came out 2 years ago. I think it was 2019,
Okay. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
they boasted that they're using AI for the approval process of the cards, which is okay, cool. It's not. They try to make it as smooth as possible, as fast as possible. Just give me uh, some inputs that you have to give me access to, I don't know, your financial statements, and then like the machine will be as neutral as possible and say right away, can you get a card or you cannot get a card, and if you get a card, what's your credit card limit? Sounds good, right? Making it
Yeah.
as
Just
user
fine.
friendly as
Yeah.
possible, because for us end users, we are getting a bit spoiled, and now we want
Yeah.
those processes to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah. In one point, you just want to say your name and everything is fine, but then the crap happens.
And then crap happens, exactly. So what happened there was that uh, there was a bit of a scandal because the guy who was the creator of Ruby on Rails, the programming language, he realized that he and his wife applied for the same card at the same time. They had the same credit score. I think even she had better credit score. That's the thing in the US. It's not as common here. They had about the same salaries, everything. It's like there was really no difference between them in a financial point of view. Like she even had better figures, better numbers, better results than he did. But when they got the credit card, so it was approved for both of them, but her credit card limit was 7 times lower than his. So it was like, what the hell just happened?
Okay.
And that's where where you realize that you need to really be careful about the data that you're using, because especially in AI, a lot of data that is used is historical. And if we're looking at how different genders were treated throughout history when it comes to being able to open a bank account, to get a credit card limit, have a lot of services, and women were not allowed for a long time to have the same rights as men. And that's simply what it translated into the algorithm, because it used historical data. And of course, if women throughout history were getting lower credit card limits or whatever credit limits than men, so the natural conclusion of the algorithm, who is completely objective and is just, drawing conclusions out of the data, that's the natural conclusion that women should have a lower credit card limit. So yeah, that was a bit tiny scandal in the US.
Well, actually, when you mentioned that, that's called in AI and with this kind of stuff that you're using neural networks example, that there is kind of a bias actually in the computers who are working with neural networks, that even one woman with she's Afro-American, right? And she was creating a smart mirror. When you stand in front of the mirror will recognize you and it will give you all kind of a data about weather, what news or whatnot. It couldn't recognize her. And she was actually the one who was programming that. And the problem was that the data that was fed to the algorithm, because she didn't know what she's putting in, she just used the data from the, I think it was TensorFlow or something like that. But the mainly, what?
The publicly available data sets.
Publicly available data sets, which are actually mostly, it turns out, when she went with her team, there was like huge team who were working on that. They actually checked the data, checked images, and they saw that mostly the images were white men.
Yeah.
Not just the black complexity, that was like, I don't know how many percent, but actually not even the white women were presented there. So, okay, that some kind of things come from the historical data, from historical how was something was working on, and even the AI and neural network started as a mathematician problems in 1960s, right? It's not something that just came up right now in 21st century. It's actually in the middle of the 20th century. So it's interesting what you mentioned right now, those kind of blunders. But I'm really looking forward for this kind of companies like yourself, these little startups that are trying to fix that, because you see the problem, not because you're in that field. You see that it's common there. It's not like Nathan Never comic. It's not like Terminator movies that you're like, everything is bad. You are actually working on the problems that can help people. Because I know how I started, like, will I be... But you said, and that's beautiful thing that you said, that there are regulation in place. And while somebody in the office sitting somewhere in the bank could say, listen, I didn't have my coffee today and I cannot listen to this couple right now. And I would just tell them, we cannot have the car loan because I'm tired and I want to sleep and I can wait 12 o'clock for lunch. AI will say, listen, everything is fine here. Just recheck the data, recheck the application, and let's go for it, right?
If it can, and it can do that on a scale. Because if you think about it, every personal banker can go through your bank statements and through your financial reports and make a decision. But one person can do only as many applications. Like how many a day can a person do?
Yeah, with the clear mind. You can
exactly,
do 1,000 in an hour if you want. Like, no.
Even that is questionable. Can you? 1,000 an hour?
Yes, you see, there's like 100 papers here. Everything is no.
In that way, yeah, that works. It's
A
true.
little joke, but with the AI, you actually can get in the split of a second something that we take for granted. When you go somewhere and you scan what Photomat is doing right now, you can scan a ID card or something like that, and everything is inside. So
Yep.
people don't have to actually type or
Finally.
God forbid, write everything by hand. You just sign down there. You can actually, of course, read what you're signing, but
Preferably, that would
yeah,
be a good thing.
it would be like the sense thing to do. Read what you're signing. But AI is help with that. So sorry, I
It
was
can.
ranting
Yeah,
because this is startup rant, and I like to rant. Now you know why it's called startup rant. At least you know why it's called rant.
fair enough.
Startup is self-explanatory.
No, but the thing is, I mean, any technology can be used for good and bad. Yeah, and it boils down to us to decide what we want to use it for and to be careful how we use it. So when we are aware of these problems and issues with data, that it can be biased, that it can be very, I don't know, non-diverse. And again, here in Croatia, maybe we don't have such a problem, so to say, with races, because as a nation we're not as diverse. But in general, you need a good representation of all different elements. I mean, even with statistics, when you need, you try to make some analysis, some statistical analysis, you need the sample that is representation of what exists out there. So you
Yeah.
have to be careful, with the data that you're working on, that it really represents everything and everyone. In I'm not going to say equal quantities, because that's a perfect world and probably will not happen, but to be aware that if that is not the case, that the outcome might be different, is already a big thing. So to be fair, I was kind of surprised at the reaction that the Apple Card had, where their primary reaction was, but no, we're not biased. It's the algorithm that did this decision. But, like everyone who's working in AI, they know that the algorithm is biased if the data is biased, and data is of course biased if you haven't checked it. So that was kind of,
That's the thing, I didn't kill you, the bullet from the gun did.
yeah. Something like that. So I was shocked at how badly they handled the PR crisis.
Yeah, the PR crisis there, it was like, when something happens like that, like with the Tesla running over some guy or something like that, or something like that, if they take responsibility, if they just say, listen, we need to check what's happening here. But that's with the car, that was like, it doesn't seem that big because that's card. We are talking about a bank card, but it actually is big because we're talking about credit score, and we are talking about somebody ability to go to the place of, I don't know, shop, shoes, food, not being able to pay for something because something is credited wrong.
That's true. I mean, I know that a lot of people think of banks or financial institutions as necessary evil, but those are the companies that are actually following us throughout our lives, throughout the different cycles in our lives. And without them, I think our lives would be much, much more difficult, without having a credit card that you can use to actually buy things, and maybe pay later. And so it is a big thing because it's directly influencing our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, it's sometimes people don't realize that what's technology right now. Is this the technology? I have a mobile phone in my hand, and like, is this technology, or is a hammer and axe technology? People don't realize that actually hammer and axe is a technology.
The technology, exactly.
Because even the word axe didn't, until Shakespeare wrote it in Hamlet, didn't become a word in the English as an axe.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Hamlet is about Danish prince and Danish are Vikings, and how you have an axe. They have something different for what you cut the wood with, but that doesn't matter. We do not go there. I wanted to say that everything is technology. The pen is technology, because show this to the Neanderthal, and he will like be and we need to think about everything right now. AI is a technology that we maybe are afraid right now and think it's magic, but in the future our kids, our grandchildren will be like, mom, Roomba is just flying. I put it backwards, and I put a little bit stingy on it, and I fire up a new firewall and a little bit of software, and now it's helicopter.
No, but that is true. But exactly,
and mom will look at it and will say, okay, but where is the dog? Oh. About the dog.
Back to the dog, huh?
So, rise of AI is now here.
Skynet,
no, it's not Skynet. It's OpenAI. I'm going to go to, we will not go to the Skynet. We will not go to the whatnot. I just want to say that it's interesting what's happening right now, and I'm looking at the news. We have OpenAI as a company creating a program that can write text for you, that can write all kind of stuff. Heritage.com right now puts kind of an interesting spin on. You can feed it with the image of your grandfather, black and white image, and he will do a little like kind of a GIF, a video of it. Animation of it. We have something called Neon, which is like a big mirror or whatnot, and it's actual virtual assistant, literally like person. You can look at it and it's there and it can do stuff for you as a receptionist. We have another company that came just recently that can write copies for your marketing, which is powered by AI. Do you think that we will become obsolete in a way in some jobs? Like the, people from, I don't know, smiths became obsolete. You don't have people now making hammers anymore.
So let me put it this way. Before the mobile phones appeared, so you had the telephone, and you had those big like switch panels and the operators that would transfer the call. Someone would call and then they would plug from here to there. We see that.
You mean those women working in
usually those women, yeah, usually women like that. Do we have that job today?
I don't know. I hope not. No, we don't have.
No, we don't. I mean, every industrial revolution brings changes in types of jobs that exist. So one of the things I like to show when I'm kind of talking about AI is the same photo of Times Square in New York City. One photo is from 1900. The other photo is from 1913. So 13 years of difference at the beginning of the 20th century. In the first photo, you can always see like horses and carriages on the street, and there was maybe one car in it. 13 years later, there are no horses, there are no carriages. So what happened to those people that were driving those carriages? Have they become obsolete? For that particular job, maybe yes, or yes, unless they remained as like for tourist purposes. But a lot of them have like started doing different jobs. And even today, I mean, speaking of the mobile phone that you were holding a moment ago, 20 years ago, we had no idea that we will have mobile phones. Okay, we didn't know about mobile phones, we didn't know about smartphones. Back then, maybe we had some different jobs that don't exist today. But back then, we didn't have so many jobs that exist now. So with the smartphone, for example, the application developers We didn't have that 15 years ago. Who had an idea that we would need something like that? Nobody. But now, there are new things that are popping up. And with AI currently, it's like replacing a lot of jobs, a lot of tasks that are repetitive, that are not even like so much fun, just be honest, for humans. And a lot of them are even happy to have a technology that handles that part, the boring part of the job, so that they can do something much more creative, much more fun, much more efficient. So, right now the technology is being used in a way that is really fostering, I dare say, like human creativity, because it actually allows us time to focus on something like that. So
So,
yeah, I mean, some jobs will disappear, but it's simply inevitable again with the
okay.
development of technology, with development of throughout
Beautiful.
history, we've seen that. So that will happen today as well. But new jobs will appear, and
Yeah, and that's beautiful because if we plan accordingly, we can actually be on the top of the curve. We can see what's happening and not teach our children how to work on 60-year-old press machines that are pressing metal, but actually to see how they can implement an computer and software to work with that machine that presses the metal. Not just press the button when it hits here and things like that. You came from the marketing space. Do you think that will be affected by AI? Because I
everything.
mentioned that, but do you think, I hate when I have to, I'm like also do something in marketing or something like that, and when I have, but it's not my primary, what I'm doing. So when I go and open the, I don't know, Facebook ads, Google ads, or something, I need to set it up, and it's like, oh, super! We have now 7 more additional stuff there that I need to think about. Do you think like that some kind of software AI thing it will say, but you know what, Miroslav, because you perfectly put up that one thingy before, we can extrapolate and say that you don't need to click on this and that, just on this and that. Just a suggestion. And I will
Hint,
say,
hint.
yes. And no dogs
Exactly.
were harmed in this ad.
We are taking care of the dogs in a good way. No, absolutely. And I do see AI in that, especially digital advertising, um, because it can analyze again much better the effects of something that has happened, some ad that you had before, and it can like suggest and try to predict what would work better. If this image might work better with that copy, or if this version of text might work better. Then, of course, when it comes to budgeting and allocating the budget on different channels, and like even automatically oh God, how do you say? It's not manipulating, but managing the budget. Lord, I'm missing the words now.
Go with the adjust.
Adjust. There is a program, Adjust, for digital advertising, actually. But yeah, so I know that a lot of people that are working in the media buying space, that they have to set up those campaigns, and then they have to check every day how it went yesterday, and if it needs to be optimized in a way. I don't know, you have to increase on one channel, decrease on the other. But right now people are doing it by this way, and the experience that we have, and not really on basis of analytics, because our human brains are not wired that way. So we cannot handle large amount of data, and especially in tables, we're really not good at it.
Oh
But the
no.
algorithms are. So when they have the ability of analyzing what has happened in the past 24 hours or 7 days or a month, they are much better in predicting of what will happen next and what needs to be done to get the maximum output out of it. So yes, it's going to affect that part as well. It's affecting everything, every
Those
industry.
AIs coming to my country and taking my jobs.
Um, yeah. I mean, maybe someone will try to burn a computer, on the
Yeah, well,
streets
I think there was
because of
one
that.
guy in Germany or somewhere that wanted to like burn the server farm of Google or Facebook, something like that, some few years ago. But actually, the problem here I see like more in something that people were talking about in twenties. When they're like imagining the future. And they were like thinking like, oh, in the 60s there will be flying cars and whatnot. In the 80s, oh, there's going to be all kind of a stuff, not just uh, glam rock and things like that. They was like thinking like we will work less. This 8 hour work day or something like that. Do we need that? It's not like I'm in the mine shaft and I need 8 hours of light or something, or on the field, or when I get home, or I don't know what. We actually can work 4 hours a day to set up the AIs to work for us and still have the same amount of money, still have the same benefits, and we can actually have even more. That's why I believe that AIs, the neural network, will that's comes to like power all that, the data that we already have, that all that kind of stuff will help us to be, you know, not perfect, not
More
equilibrium or
efficient.
whatnot, or efficient. We will like be more there, like
Well, hopefully. And then on the other hand, us humans, will we really be able not to work so much? I
well,
think it's very individual.
yeah, but that depends on people. I know that I will never. You give me now a robot here beside me, or Android, whatnot, to do everything that I do, and will just find something stupid to do by
Something else.
myself. But that's not the point. I think that if I don't have to go to field to plow the field already now, I don't need to have to do it. There are actually tractors and stuff that I can just sit in it. And if there are AI driving that, why I couldn't just sit, lay back, and just if something goes wrong, I'm gonna fix it. Why everything has to be okay, if he's doing my job, I'm gonna be fired and there will be no money for me. So in that accord, we can talk about AI all day, I guess.
Probably. There's so
And
many.
because we still didn't touch the dark side of AI overlords taking our lives and making batteries of us. Oh no, that's Matrix, which movie. So not go there. Let's keep it here where we are right now. And are we as a country lacking, or you said that after the Finland, we are actually second in elements of AI. We are really, really, really learning this stuff. We want to rule the world. I mean, to be a part of the world of AI. And do you think we're lacking behind the China, USA, or Britain, France, which are really good with AI right now? Africa also has some kind of network there that are working especially in the fintech, which you are coming from as a banking. They are more still on the GSM banking stuff, but they are progressing. We have India, really. Well, they have all the servers there. And all the service there. So are we lacking? Are we maybe a hub here that we can actually say, if Google is going to make a next big farm or next big deep blue, that we are here as a computer science hub for AI?
Well, we're working on it to become one in
Cool.
some way. Um, are we lagging behind? Well, it's a very relative uh, view, because you would say that US is lagging behind China and Europe is lagging behind the US. It depends in what exactly. And there are differences a little bit with the regulations and the accessibility of data and what you can do with that data. And Europe is very, very keen on protecting the privacy of people. and giving the individuals the autonomy to decide what can be done with the data. And even now the latest draft of the AI regulation that has come out a few weeks ago, like it kind of, within the EU, of course, it's trying to think of regulating AI by categorizing projects into different stages of risk. But some applications have already been deemed as completely forbidden. And one is a social scoring, which, for example, in China is already a thing. So, depends how you look at it. Will China be ahead because they have a lax approach to using data? Could be.
Okay.
Will US have an advantage over Europe because they also have the principle, let's try it first and then regulate? Probably. But I mean, Europe also has a lot of things that are advantage. I mean, the GDPR, as annoying as it is to a lot of us, to be fair, but it's a big thing, and it's protecting our way of life that we are used to here in this part of the world. And a lot of other countries, for example, the US now is implementing their version of GDPR, even though they didn't do it right away. When Europe did it, they were waiting a bit, but now they also see that it is something that kind of protects the people as well. So I mean, we are a small country, so I'm not sure how big of a leader we can be in anything. But then again, in some aspects, in some niches, we can, like with the fastest electric car in the world. So we do have very good potential. Now we are trying to see, cooperation with relevant stakeholders here in Croatia, with the associations, with companies, and with our government as well. What can be done to put Croatia on the AI world map, and let's be like a hub for something, for some niche, so that others would come to us to develop AI things.
Yeah, maybe we will need to take Airt as a brand, not just for a bank, but actually to point direction, because maybe people don't know what your name of the company means. So for the end, please explain people.
Yeah, so
And
Airt is,
why no Croatian?
so it is funny, but of course, when we were looking for a name of the company, you start with something. So one of the approaches was to try to find a word that already has AI in it, and Airt, AIRT, obviously has it. So it wasn't a difficult decision to choose this name, because it kind of checked the boxes on various criteria. And one is that it starts with an A, it has AI in it, it's short. Domain.ai was available.
Oh yeah, that's the how you choose the name.
I mean,
Available.
if it's available, you get it. I mean, for 4-letter word, come on.
Yeah,
you know how difficult it is to find it.
I know.
but the best part of the name was that it actually has a meaning, and it's a great meaning, because Airt is originally a Scottish word, which is apparently also used in English, although a lot of people who are native speakers have not heard of it. But that's
their problem.
Their problem, exactly.
Know how to speak.
Yeah, but the literal translation would be the needle of the compass, or figuratively to guide, to navigate. So we are navigating you through the world of AI. So yeah, let's navigate Croatia on the map of AI.
And as one of the most famous seafaring nations, we will be navigated to the troublesome seas and storms of artificial intelligence by Heidi.
Yay. Captain Heidi, huh?
Arr.
Aye.
Yeah, we could be pirates, like, AI nation.
Well, we do have another project that's called Captain AI. So
Please do
we're
tell. Is this something that nobody ever heard, and I will be the first in the startup Rant to hear about it?
unfortunately not, but it's been a little bit undercover. Well, we have talked about it, and it's a project that we are working on together with the guys from Seek and Hit from Split. And it's
Of course, they're the closest to the sea.
exactly, yeah.
And they have the port and everything. Okay, okay.
And it's the platform for optimization of digital campaigns. So yeah, we did reveal it a year ago now, a little bit over a year ago, but we also took our time to really find its space. You know, what's the best way to go with that project? And right now we are kind of aiming it towards the gaming industry, because they have a lot of needs when it comes to optimization of their advertising campaigns online. So
And
you'll hear
the
more about it soon. And the data, they have a lot of data. So yeah, you will hear much more about Captain AI soon as well.
Captain AI, cool. All right,
Yeah.
all right. That's beautiful. I like it. So, thank you for this interesting talk about our overall, I mean, AI that will help us in the future and clean the poop, help us with
Hopefully.
everything. Um, People know already that I'm joking about all of this stuff, and this is really cool to me because I'm fan of AI. I'm fan of course, science fiction and everything, and I don't believe that everything will be dark as it's portrayed in all those movies and TV shows and whatnot. One of the interesting TV shows that I love is Person of Interest, which is started as something that people thought that there is kind of a police procedure, but actually in the background there's a big AI that's actually trying to crunch all the data and find who could be a possible killer, or who will be, or who is in the danger of to be killed or something like that, of harm. And he's trying to, as an AI, help humanity in that way. It's a beautiful TV show, TV series, and I maybe revealed for everybody who never watched it and they were going to watch the first season of it. There are actually, the show is
Jim
finished.
Caviezel is in that, right?
Yep, John Caviezel is there.
Yeah, I
The
know.
Jesus is in there, so it's
No, I know about that show. I've seen it too. Yeah,
it's
it's a cool
beautiful
show.
too. It's
Yeah,
one
it
of
is.
the
Yeah.
best shows that is portraying AI as something that's uh,
Positive.
I wouldn't even say good, because it's portrayed as I wouldn't say tool. I would actually
Useful.
yeah, useful. I would actually say as a part of society that can be. It's not like when you read or when you watch, most people watch Minority Report, right? And it's predicting the crime, if you even think of the something like that. But this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more grounded, and it's a beautiful TV show talking about AI in a more humane way, in a way.
No, but that's the thing. What I said, majority of TV shows and series and movies and everything are portraying AI as like an enemy, a potential threat. And sure, I mean, as I said, that might happen, but any technology, like I said, can be used for good and bad. But unfortunately, with the AI, it really has such a negative, connotation about it because of all those shows, and it's because a lot of people who have seen that are identifying with it and are believing that's what AI is, and that's the only thing that AI can be, which is not true. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm grateful to be in a show like yours, that we can talk about positive applications of
Yeah.
AI.
Well, if you're gonna backtrack to something that I mentioned, technology, it's a hammer. And if I use a hammer and try to hit a nail and I hit my fingers, I will not throw hammer away and say, "Stupid little hammer kicking me." It's actually I that provided data. Now maybe I have poor eyesight, so that's another problem.
That is true. but to
Hey,
use, yeah.
yeah. So like I said, we can talk all day about this. So episode 2 coming soon, people.
Sequel coming up.
Yeah. But we will let Heidi be right now. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Heidi, for being a guest today. And she will send me all the data that she wants you to be followed, from Airt to Heart. I don't know everything that she has, from LinkedIn to
Interesting.
web page. I don't know. Um,
I
thank
will.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.